Hi, welcome to PDQ Live. I'm Tara, and today we have Brock with us.
Hey,
Brock.
everybody. Yeah, Josh is still MIA. Well, when do we send the people to go looking for him? Like a wellness check?
A few more
A
days.
couple more weeks?
Yeah, we'll find him eventually. We also have Andrew. He's there somewhere. Hi, Andrew.
Hello, Tara.
There he is. Okay, we got a lot to cover today. I think Andrew's our first section, right?
He is. Do we have any announcements, Kelly?
No.
Whoa.
I know this is weird, right?
Crazy.
No announcements, just be cool.
I got an announcement.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Stay tuned. Next week, we should have a new intro.
Ooh.
I'm crossing my fingers.
okay.
It'll happen. That's
There
all.
we go.
Yes.
Are we going
oh
to
my
let the
gosh.
people know what it is or see who can guess it?
9-9.
Okay, there you go.
Yay! Okay,
99 problems, but an intro is not one.
One.
Sorry, Tara.
Thanks.
Andrew is here today to teach us everything you ever wanted to know about VS Code. Are you ready, Andrew?
I'm so ready. This is a great year to learn VS Code because everyone's learning PowerShell this year, including Tara. And VS Code is one of those things where, yeah, we can use it for PowerShell, which is really powerful, but it can be used for a whole bunch of other things. And once you get this tool underneath your belt, it will grow with you throughout your career. Can you share the screen on? Let me know when the screen's shared and I can show a few things here.
Oh, yeah. We're showing some stuff. Here we go.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There we go.
That's
All
it.
right. Let's click a little zoomy zoom in here. Boom, boom. Well, sorry, let me figure out how to do this. There you go. A little bit bigger for us. Okay. Set a little bit of context. What the heck is going on here? Well, we're looking at VS Code. Why would we use VS Code? Well, there's this thing called the PowerShell ISE, which is built into Windows. You can use it. It works. And if you're in the spot where this is really intimidating, you're not actually running any PowerShell yet, no worries, use the ISE. But at a certain point, you're going to want to do more. You're going to want to be moving to what is actually supported, what is not deprecated, and what can be used with PowerShell 7. Again, if you're a super beginner, just run some PowerShell, get things to work. We'll go on from there. But VS Code is where it's at. Let's talk about what we need to get installed, because there's a few things that we're going to need beforehand. And I won't walk through all the installs because hopefully you'll know how to install things. And you can use actually PDQ Connect for some of this. So let's take a little gander here. A couple things you're going to want to install. VS Code, believe it or not. We will need that to use VS Code. I think it's actually called code or something in here. Boom, boom. Wow. It's a great day for typing. Yeah, Visual Studio Code. There you go. There's also this thing called PowerShell 7. Again, if you're ready for that, this is a great experience for it, and you cannot use that in ISE. And the last thing that we're going to get, and you don't even need to know about it yet, but you're going to want it there for the future, it's Git. We've covered it on the webcast in the past. It's pretty powerful, but also, again, you don't need to have everything figured out before you get started. If it's there, there's some integrated things that can take advantage of it, which I recommend you check out. The last mandatory thing, before we get into a bit of a guide of what we're even looking at here, is the PowerShell extension. So if you open up VS Code on the left-hand side here, it says extensions. That's how you, extend. It's kind of like Chrome extensions, same kind of thing, Chrome plugins. Yeah, we get one called PowerShell. It basically makes it so there's actual features in here, and it's not just treating it as text, which is what we kind of want, right? We want VS Code to work for us and not against us. And I should say, if you are on PowerShell 5.1, you can use that in VS Code, but I personally prefer 7 for pretty much everything. Okay. How are we doing? Do you guys have any questions? Tara, I know you're newer to this. Are we following? Is this tracking so far?
It is tracking, but you're forgetting really the most important thing so far.
Oh, we'll get to it. I know what we're getting to.
Okay.
There's a dedicated section at the end where we go over some very cool extensions beyond the basics.
I do have a question already out of the gate,
Yes.
though, that confused me when I first started this and kind of still confuses me to this day. So I'm going to ask it for everybody else that might be confused. Can you tell me the difference between the top and the bottom?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to go through a brief tour of the VS Code layout because there's a few things here. If you're seeing all this at once, it can be a little intimidating, but let us break this down a little bit. Left-hand side here, which we might move this in the future, we have this Explorer. Okay, it allows us to do things like opening a folder, which is incredibly powerful. I have a Git repository. Maybe you have a repository of scripts of your own. You can open up the folder, and there you go. There's scripts inside here. There's subfolders, all kinds of stuff. Very helpful. And I'll show you one feature that makes it even more powerful. We also have right here, the editor itself. Hello, Tara.
So the top pane is my editor.
Exactly, editor.
Okay.
That's where we're going to actually edit a script, which is a file that we're going to save and run in the future. Okay, so we have things like tab completion. Okay, so we can type in stuff and not actually need to know what we're doing. Okay, where object, that's helpful.
Now, we kind of talked about a little bit about that yesterday, is if you don't install the PowerShell extension, then you don't get those built-in features with PowerShell. While VS Code can actually recognize the language and everything and understands PowerShell, but like tab completion and IntelliSense and stuff like that does not work without the actual extension installed.
Absolutely. Before we move on, I wanted to make sure I mention this. If you are like an ISE lover and this is really intimidating to you, there's something called ISE mode, which enables some things that might be a little familiar to you. I'll enable it real quick. I don't love it. I don't love this too much. I kind of prefer the more streamlined experience, so I will go back.
Dark mode, dark mode.
Doom.
Okay, so just before you continue, just quick question. Do you suggest this experience for people who are brand new to PowerShell, or do you think this would be confusing for them?
I think that you got to try it yourself and see if it's worth adding more. So customizable. I prefer this for me. I think everyone can be a little bit different. And yeah, if you really love the ISE, stick with ISE mode for now. I don't think that you will be using it for very long, just because it feels cooler. Like, you want to feel like if you're coding that you're like a cool person, you're doing all this fancy stuff, getting a custom theme. And this is not even custom. Okay. We're going to go somewhere else with these themes in a little bit here.
Okay.
The next thing I want to call out is, first of all, this sidebar thing, collapsible. Okay. Control-B will also do that. We'll cover some hotkeys in the end. But we have this terminal thing down here. Okay. So this is where we can also run code. Actually run it though, right? It runs right here. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of things. Great stuff. What we can do also is say we're like writing a script up here. There's this thing called, I'm going to right click so you can see it, run selection. You see there's a hotkey there, F8.
Yep.
But run selection will run whatever line or whatever you have highlighted. There you go. Okay, it runs it for us. It's just a way, as you're writing a script, you can press F8 to run the line, verify that it's working. I will say that there are times, if you're working on a big script, don't be afraid to use an external PowerShell process, like in Windows Terminal or something. It can help with troubleshooting at times. Just keep that in mind, that that is a thing. But those are the core parts. If you look down here, there's also other things that we don't need to worry about at this point in time. Terminal is going to be where we're going to get the most bang for our buck. And maybe in a future one, we can cover things like debugging and some of the more advanced stuff that you can do.
Okay.
Okay, we mentioned opening folders. That is a big advantage compared to ISE. So I want to show something here, which is super powerful. So we just typed in get process, right? I press Control F. You know, Control F is fine, kind of universally. And let's type in get process here. Okay, it finds it in this file, but we have a bunch of files and folders over here. And I actually don't know if this is in any other folders. Wait, where's the thing to search all projects? Oops, didn't mean to do that. It's, what is this? Find in selection. Okay, I think it's a Control-Shift-F, I think for the Control-Shift-F for the search. Yeah, so this will search all of the files, I believe. There you go. So as you can see, get, boom. We have get-p in this file right here, which we can click on. It brings us to the exact line that has it.
That's really cool.
That's powerful.
That's really cool, yeah.
Absolutely. There's this other thing that you can do as well, which is, you know, we have find, but we click this little thing, we have find and replace. So say you update the name of a variable or whatever the case may be, you can find all times that that comes up, and you can go through them one at a time and click replace. So let's do this. So we figured out that we're not actually dealing with processes, we're dealing with services. And imagine the script is really long and there's a ton of them. What I do very often is click that. Wait, what? Replace. Yeah, there you go. Lovely. That's pretty powerful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's a lot here. All of it is customizable. There is one go-to. Oops, I didn't mean to click that. There's one go-to shortcut that you should use, which for me, it's F1, right? You press F1, brings up this thing called the commands palette.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see people a lot of times say Ctrl+Shift+P. Same thing if your keyboard doesn't have an F1 for some reason.
Hey, Andrew, can I point one thing out since
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about the command palette? Something that I know tripped me up when I was first starting VS Code. So if you hit F1 or Ctrl+Shift+P and pull up the command palette, if that greater than symbol there is not at the front, you are not getting the command palette.
I think it just looks for files there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if
Yep.
you are wondering, like if you're just going up to that field up there, you like click into it and you're like, oh, I want to pull up the settings or I want to pull up whatever, and stuff is not coming up, it's because you most likely don't have that greater than symbol at the front.
Yep. And the thing I like about this F1, this command palette, is I don't need to memorize all this stuff. Like if you look, this is overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. I use this a lot and I'm not even going to spend any time figuring it out. I'm just going to press F1 and type whatever I'm trying to do. And what I'm trying to show you here is settings. So let's just type in settings and see what's up. Okay, those are recently used at the top, so I know that these are actually the right ones. But let's imagine you don't have that. Okay, what do we want to do? We want to open up user settings or default settings, but let's check out user settings. And you see there's user and workspace. Workspace only applies to your current workspace, whereas user applies to all of you. Let's check that out. Oops, let's minimize. So what are some settings that we'd want to set? There's some easy ones, like the default language, I think. Default language. I've gone ahead and set this to PowerShell, all lowercase.
That's
and I'll
always the
show you
first
what.
setting I set.
Yep, and it's all lowercase. I did it wrong yesterday, just so you know. I want to show you something else real quick, just to show you. Yeah. Open. I'll type in the full thing, just to be less confusing. All right, opening up the JSON. This is actually the file. It's kind of ugly. These are some of the things that I have set. I think this was set, some of these whenever I enabled ISE mode. But there's things like autosave, obviously default language, which we just set. And if we set it through this UI, it takes care of putting it in this JSON for us. So you don't actually have to know all this. Editor tab completion, I like it on. There's our little color theme and all kinds of things. One thing I like is breadcrumbs enabled. Let's see if I can find breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs enabled. Okay. This is, it shows like a clickable path at the top of the editor, which I don't exactly like, or actually I do like it because it helps you understand where you are and allows you to jump around big scripts. This is the one that I don't like, which is enable preview. I don't know if you've ever done this. Yeah. Editor enable preview. So this makes it so that, and I'll show you here, if I click, like if I just click on this file, it doesn't necessarily, so you have to double click it to open it. It's not actually opened if you just have this preview thing, which can lead to a lot of confusion, at least for me. So definitely want to make sure that we're not using that.
Is that enabled by default?
I think so. It's one that I always make sure that I look for and disable explicitly. Some of those settings can be a little troublesome over time. There's also some things like trim trailing white space and some other stuff that we can do. The cool thing, though, is that all these settings, and as time goes on, you're going to figure out what works best for you. I recommend starting light and over time expanding so you can understand what's going on rather than just getting everything under the sun. You can use this thing called settings sync. So it can synchronize your settings. Settings sync. Okay. It allows you to synchronize your settings using GitHub or your Microsoft account. So I'm here with you, Tara. I could sync it here. I have a different machine. I could sync it there as well. Very high ceiling in terms of the customization. And that's really the benefit because this is a tool for your tool belt that will continue with you through your career, right? It's not just for PowerShell. You got JSON, you got CSVs, you got all kinds of files, maybe some YAML, whatever you have will be with you here and it'll come along for the ride.
Nice. So Andrew, one thing I want to ask you is some of these extensions they seem scary. They seem like Chrome extensions. What do you have to say about which ones you should trust? They seem a little worrisome to me.
So there's some risks with running anything. PowerShell extension, if it's by Microsoft, it's generally, a little bit more trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
You're ultimately going to have to do whatever your company decides. It's a risk-based decision. I think that using PowerShell and live share and anything by Microsoft is a little bit more trusted. But you also got to make room for things like VS Code Pets, which is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And it just allows things to be fun. Where do we do this? How do I enable it? F1, right? And I don't even know what I'm doing with this because I don't use it.
Spawn your pets. I love it. Spawn a pet. Start pet coding session and then throw the ball. Spawn all the pets.
Flippy.
Then you name them. You gotta pick the color and then you name them and then you throw the ball constantly, just the whole time. Look at him run. Look at him run.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Clippy on a skateboard.
Yep. Throw the ball. Yep. And then you throw the ball with the mouse. I know, that's my favorite thing.
Well, that is the basics. I don't want people to be too overwhelmed because this is something that, again, will grow with you over time. You want to get started now. And as time goes on, you can worry about things like, for example, moving the primary sidebar to the right. Give yourself, it won't jump around your code as much when you open and close it with Ctrl+B. There's a lot of hotkeys as well that you'll learn over time. But I think we'll keep it there for now.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew.
My pleasure. And I look forward. People are going to tell me about themselves getting started on this too in the PDQ Discord.
Kelly, there were some questions. Do we want to ask him questions now, or?
Let's see. Really, the only question was, what's your favorite AI extension for VS Code?
I mean, I really only use GitHub Copilot, which can lead to different results. But yeah, GitHub Copilot is what I use. It's pretty integrated nicely. I don't have it set up on this machine, because I find it can add a little bit for like live demos and stuff. It's not the best because it'll suggest crazy things at times, but definitely GitHub Copilot.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah. Okay, I think next we're talking about kind of a surprise feature that dropped, right?
Yeah.
Did you know this was coming?
I did when I saw it on product updates.
Yeah, that's
Shiny new things.
Okay, so this one actually would have been so incredibly helpful to me in a previous job. So this is a new feature in remote control inside of Connect if you are in virtual environment, a virtual environment. So we have long been able to remote control into machines, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you have VMs, you can log into the same, what's the word? Words are escaping me now.
Session.
Thank you. The same virtual session with your users. So if they call you and you're like, I can't remember how to do that thing again. Can you log in with me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, and I actually ran into this issue when I was trying to demo the remote desktop feature because I mainly work in virtual machines, right? That's what they give us access to virtual machines here. That's what we use for our lab environment and everything. So that's where all our testing happens. And so I wanted to show off remote desktop. And what was happening is I would go from PDQ Connect in the browser and I would try to remote desktop into a virtual machine to pretend like I was IT support, help desk, whatever, and provide support that way. Yeah. But every time I would connect, it would just start its own remote desktop session instead of joining me to the existing session.
Yep.
Well, that has changed now.
Yep.
So if you haven't seen it, go and check this out if you have access to PDQ Connect and the remote desktop feature. So if we go in here, on my laptop right now, this is why if you were in the pre-show, I was trying to get my laptop not to die, and it actually died a few more times on me, so I had to keep waking up.
Yes.
So I'm actually remoted into a virtual machine on my laptop, and now we're going to remote into that virtual machine from this session right here. So we're going to start a remote session on Cocoa Pebbles. Now this is where, okay.
Here,
Do you know the information for
hand
that?
it to me.
I always just cancel it and hit the button again, and it goes through.
Does it?
Yeah.
Let's see how Tara types under pressure.
Probably not well because you just said that. Ah! Doing it live, people.
Well, it's funny how, let's just try closing it and relaunching it.
Let's do what Drew said. We should
Drew
always
is
listen
always
to
right.
Drew. Yes, Drew is so smart.
There we go.
Okay, so this is what you normally will see, console, but we're not going to pick console.
Yeah, so before you wouldn't see anything. Before
Yeah.
it would just connect you and start your own remote desktop session, and it would kick out whoever was in there, right? But now you see an option. So if you want to go console, this is basically going to start your own remote desktop session. But now you have the drop-down option, and you can see the existing session that is underway. So
This
if we
would be
click
your
on that,
user who's calling you saying, help me, help me.
exactly.
Yeah.
So come in here, click continue. And here we go. So this is, and I can see that here on my laptop too. So this is that user's current session. So now if you do have those users who rely on virtual machines as part of their workflow, but you still have to assist them on those devices, you can now do that with remote desktop through PDQ Connect.
Yeah, and we actually were testing it to see how many people could log in. because
Yeah, which is
we're
cool.
little stinkers like that.
I'm going to jump in right now.
So yeah, we had a few people in here. So in theory, if you had a few help desk people that needed to escalate to the system administrator, you just all hop in there. It worked for us, but we actually don't know how many people you could actually do it in. But
Yeah, so we had two, which I was thinking of a use case for this, and I've definitely been in this situation. I don't know if you guys have, but when you remote into someone's computer, like they put in a ticket, right? And they're like, hey, something really weird has happened on my computer. And so you remote in and you're like, okay, that is really weird. But then like nobody else is around to see it or whatever. And like you think when you go and tell your coworkers, they just think you're going to make it up, you know?
yeah,
And so you can actually have them remote like, no, remote in, look
Yeah,
at,
yeah.
see what I'm seeing right
Yeah.
now because
I'm not
this
crazy.
is really weird. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy.
yeah.
That would be a use case for getting a lot of people in here. But
Sure.
if anyone wants to test it out and see how many people you can get in there, I'd be interested to know.
Yeah.
Because so far we've got 2, but I think we can go more.
Kelly, log in. Everyone get in.
Join the party. We do have a couple of questions in here. How safe would you consider it to be to leave the remote agent installed on a whole lot of devices, or should we remove after use?
I think that's a you question for your
Yeah.
environment. What's your security protocol? I'm not sure we can answer that for you. I always log right out. That's just me because I'm super security conscious. So I think that.
Well, are they talking about logging out or are they talking
just
about
the
the
agent?
actual agent itself that stays installed on the machine?
Oh yeah, it stays installed on the machine. Yeah.
I don't think that there's many security risks there. But again, this is like all things IT is everything is that risk factor, right? Like how much risk are you willing to inherit for ease of use, right? And that's not just remote desktop. That's all things you do in IT, right? So if that risk is low enough to where the convenience outweighs it, then yeah, keep the remote desktop agent on there. I don't think there's a whole lot of risk there unless you feel like you can't trust people with your PDQ Connect credentials and they're out there and they're using bad passwords and people are logging in. But you've got like MFA and stuff enabled, so I don't think there's a lot of risk there. But
Yeah. Another question, when will this come to DNI? I think my understanding is this is a Connect feature, but you can use, for example, ISL kind of next to DNI.
correct, yeah. ISL, definitely check it out if you haven't. You can go and download a free trial. I had just downloaded it the other day and was using it. It functions like what you're seeing here in the user experience here is very similar to what you'll get with ISL. ISL is going to give you a couple more options of ways to connect. You kind of have the traditional, like where you get a code, you can give that person a code, and then they can like one-off. You can do like a remote session with them, or you can use the always-on agent, which is similar to PDQ Connect, where they have an agent on the machine, and you can connect and disconnect whenever you need to.
Yeah. And last question, will it work with standard RDP when a user is logged in via RDP in their work computer?
Well, so I think we've caused some confusion. We're just remoting in through Connect using the ISL agent. So maybe we should clarify that.
Yes.
Yeah, we're using Connect. So
Yeah.
we're not doing anything different than we normally would. We're just leveraging ISL. They've just changed how it connects. They've just enhanced the ISL agent inside of Connect. So sorry to have caused that confusion.
Cool. That's it.
Sweet. I think we've got one more thing we wanted to talk about.
Yes.
Yes, let's bring Andrew back.
We missed Andrew.
Oh no, this is Notepad stuff, right?
This is
But
Notepad
we wanted
stuff.
Andrew to come back.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
want him here.
We
for
always
this.
miss him.
Oh, yeah, we're
Yes.
gonna
It's not
tease-
getting out that easy.
This
Tara's
is
journey is what we're going to tease, but yeah, let's do Notepad.
Oh, yeah, it's Notepad.
Okay. So we started seeing this. Some of you may be aware of this. I think it was over the weekend, or it might have been like Monday. There was a Notepad++ vulnerability that was disclosed. And a lot of people were, obviously Notepad++ is a big application that a lot of people use. There's a lot of organizations that rely on it. Been around for years and decades and stuff. And so all of a sudden news came out that there was a vulnerability that nation state actors were taking advantage of. And so there was a lot of concern like, hey, am I at risk here? And we on our subreddit had a lot of people asking, they're like, hey, I manage Notepad++ via PDQ, whether that's PDQ deploy or PDQ Connect. I manage it with that and I deploy out like the new versions and everything. Am I at risk because of this new vulnerability? And the short answer is no, right? There's a few reasons for that. The Notepad++ vulnerability wasn't a vulnerability with the Notepad++ code itself. It was somebody took advantage of some kind of exploit, managed to get upstream into their updating infrastructure. So we're talking about like their cloud hosts at this point, right?
Yeah. They redirected the update
Yes.
to their own. So
Yeah. So
it's like the supply chain attack to me.
It is. Yep, that's exactly what it is. So what was happening is the updater for Notepad++ goes out to their cloud host and says like, hey, are there any updates available? Well, somebody got in the middle of that and said, yeah, come and download updates from us instead, right? The attacks were selective though. So it wasn't just like everybody who's updating. Like if you had Notepad++ and you were just doing regular like auto updates, you probably still weren't impacted because it was select targets that were being targeted with this. Anyway, so they would go and it would say, hey, come and get this update. And that would be a malicious update. And then on the updater side of things, it wasn't doing proper validation checks. And so it would download that update as if it was a good update and just install it. So that's what was happening. The reason you're safe if you're using PDQ is because we do not use their updater to get new versions of their packages. We go directly to Notepad++'s website and download them, verify them ourselves, and then upload them into PDQ deploy and PDQ Connect. And then we take it a step further. And in fact, if you want to share the screen, Drew. So if I come here to packages, that's deployments. If I come here to packages and we look for Notepad, that is Notepad++ custom. So I've got a filter enabled. So let's remove all those. There we go. Regular one. Okay. Now, as of like up to 8.8.8, I think, this is how we were disabling. So we actually disabled the auto updater. The way that we were doing that is we were redirecting the updates to go to 1.2 or 127.0.0.1, right? So that's going home. That's not going anywhere. So that was essentially disabling it. Once the vulnerability happened, the exploit happened and everything, Notepad++ changed their updater a little bit. And so people were starting to get prompted to check if there was auto updates available or not. So we actually changed the package. So now if we come in here, go back to Notepad, and we look at like the newest version, we come down here to how we disable it now, you can see that we check if the file exists, which is the updater gup.exe, we force delete it. And we do the same thing for 32-bit and 64-bit. So there you go.
So they're safe.
They are safe because, again, we do not rely on those. You know, this is a good discussion to have just in general because I feel like a lot of people out there, if it's especially, I know at one point in my career, I relied on auto updates to handle updates because we didn't have the manpower and we didn't have the funding to get tools to do the updates for us. We're like, okay, Chrome, Firefox, Notepad, like just update yourselves and, you know, at least we're covered. But then you open yourself up to these supply chain attacks, right? And just updates in general are usually just allowed. Nobody's doing a lot of like checks on those things. Like you feel like you're safe updating from the source. And that's one benefit of going with something like PDQ is that we go out, we verify those things, and now all of a sudden you're in control of the schedule, you're in control of what gets put out there. And if something were to happen, you have a lot more control of like, hey, I can pause a deployment, I can stop it, right? You can send it out to test, whereas if you have just like auto updates enabled, that's just going to do its own thing that you don't have any control over.
Yeah. So I think the lesson here is don't worry because we're checking.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
We got your back.
And also, I see that Andrew posted your blog. If you want to read more about it, Brock wrote a whole blog for you. So thanks, Brock.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys.
All right.
Actually, I don't know if was that me?
It says you.
Oh, okay. I wrote it.
You didn't even know you wrote it, and you wrote it, Brock.
I did do the technical review on it, so I went through and made sure that.
The blog post was for the customizing VS Code.
Oh, okay, yeah, that I did right.
But there is a blog post also for the Notepad stuff.
There is.
Technical review.
Yeah, I think that one dropped this morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can go out and find out more information on there. There's a lot of good write-ups on that information, finding out like what has happened. I don't know if they've actually identified the initial way that the nation state actors got into like their cloud hosts and everything like that. But anyways, yes, good reads out there.
Okay, do we have any questions, Kelly, or did you already answer them?
Answered.
Perfect. Okay, I think that is everything for us today. For PDQ Live, I'm Tara.
And I'm Brock.
And that's Andrew over there. He's the strong, silent type. Thank you so much for joining our webcast today. If you have any additional questions, you can always reach out to our support forums. You can join us on Discord because, hey, that's where the fun happens. Please like and subscribe. Leave us your comments. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you back here next time.